What's up everyone, it's your boy Scott. Welcome to the Scott Report, and today I'm bringing you another lore video on one of my favorite X-Men characters. Today, we're diving into the lore and gameplay of the brawling Southern Belle herself, Rogue, and explaining why in Marvel Rivals Rogue isn't just strong, she's also dangerous to herself and her enemies. Because every fight she wins, she's stealing something from you. This is the lore behind Rogue and why her story perfectly explains how she plays in Marvel Rivals as well. So who is Rogue? Well, first off, Rogue, whose real name is Anna Marie, is a mutant whose power activates on skin-to-skin contact. One touch, and that's all it takes. Upon that touch, she drains life force, memories, and abilities, which means every close-range engagement for Rogue is a risk, but also a potential power spike. Yeah, that's exactly how she's designed to play in Marvel Rivals as well. This is why she always wears gloves, so she doesn't accidentally absorb abilities from the people around her. Now in the current comics, her powers has evolved to where she does not necessarily have to make contact, but we're just going to keep this short and sweet and accessible for this video. So why is Rogue hit so hard? Well, that has a little bit of a connection to another character. Rogue wasn't always this powerful. Early on, she fell under the influence of Mystique, who pushed her into the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Another fun fact that Mystique is the adoptive mother of Rogue. However, she's the biological mother of Nightcrawler, a fan favorite character we all hope to appear in Rivals one day. So technically, Rogue and Nightcrawler are brother and sister. And during that time when she was with the Brotherhood of Mutants, Rogue made a choice that changed everything. She absorbed the powers of Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel, in a battle and held on to her for so long that Carol was in a coma for quite some time. However, she absorbed not just her powers, but her memories, instincts, and her identity. This is why Rogue has super strength, flight, and the extreme durability that we all know and love her for. In Marvel Rivals terms, this is why Rogue can brawl with tanks and still walk out alive. She isn't necessarily a glass cannon, but what she is a power leech. In addition to having the ability to steal from certain characters, Rogue also gets a buff and the opponent gets a debuff depending on the class that she grabs. If she grabs a Vanguard, she gains 125 health and they lose 20 max HP. If she grabs a Duelist, you get a 20% damage buff and then they get a damage nerf. And if she grabs a Strategist, you gain 20 heals per second and they get a 4% healing debuff, so their healing abilities does less. She also gains the unstoppable trait when she's doing her absorb, so when she's doing this ability, you can't damage her, you can't knock her up, you can't CC her or anything because the animation basically makes her invincible until it's over. As far as Rogue's playstyle, she's kind of a high risk, high reward character. She's not safe by any means. Lore wise, she's constantly afraid of losing control. Gameplay wise, she thrives up close where mistakes are punished hard. She also isn't a solo Vanguard, so if you're in that situation it might be a bit of trouble for you. She has high health, but her cooldowns are so long that you really have to pace yourself and not barge into battle. Every successful engagement feels like stealing momentum or turning the enemy's strength against them. She's kind of a snowball of power. If things start going her way, it really can go bad for the other team. But at the same time, you have to manage yourself or that power and that snowball effect can be reversed on you. Which mirrors our comic history perfectly. Rogue doesn't win by zoning, she wins by commitment. When Rogue eventually joined the X-Men, it wasn't because she was perfect. It was because she wanted redemption. Under Professor X, Rogue learned control, not over her power, but when to use it. And that's the key to mastering her in Marvel Rivals as well. Bad Rogue players will rush in. Great Rogue players will wait, then strike when it matters. Rogue loves deeply, but her touch is dangerous. That restraint shows in her playstyle. She commits to the fight late, and in most cases she chooses targets carefully. And she also punishes overextension of the divers and vanguards who might be solo or went too far from the team. In most cases, she can win quite a few one-on-ones, except it's like Daredevil, who is just broken. Lore and gameplay for Rogue are perfectly aligned here. Rogue is strongest when she knows when and when not to touch. But why is Rogue a meta threat? Rogue's ceiling scales with momentum. The longer the fight goes on, the dangerous she becomes in battle, mentally and mechanically. She's a duelist killer, she's a frontline disruptor, and she's definitely a momentum breaker. If Rogue gets rolling, she doesn't just win fights, she completely takes them over. So, in a sense, Rogue isn't broken. It's more like she's earned. She isn't overpowered. That was known early, and also why she clocks in at a 5 difficulty. She's unforgiving, but she rewards players who understands timing, positioning, and commitment, just like in her story. Because Rogue isn't just about stealing power, she's about owning the consequences of using it. So is Rogue a must pick, or is she a high skill trap? Let me know what you think. And that concludes my lore breakdown for Rogue. If you enjoyed the breakdown, go ahead and hit that like, and please subscribe and drop a comment, and hit that bell so you'll be notified when my next video is here. Be sure to follow your boy on Twitch as well at The Scout Report, so you can catch me live as well. And as I always say, you guys could be anywhere on YouTube right now, but you chose to listen to me, and I really appreciate that, so thanks for stopping by. On that note, it's your boy Scott signing out. See you soon.